Hi, welcome to How to Repair. Now, as you all know, I'm doing a lot of videos on dismantling machines and showing you the built-in obsolescence on machines. But I've just put a washing machine on the workbench to run it through a test cycle. Now, this machine I picked up in a job lot of scrapped machines which were going to the landfill. And basically, the machine, I've spun it, tested it, it filled, it was all going through the wash cycle, heating. Everything was good on the machine, but I wanted to show you that some people are throwing out perfectly good machines because of their own laziness. And this, maybe they don't have the knowledge, and I'm not criticizing the individual or whoever has thrown this machine out, but this machine has got a simple problem, which I'm going to show you is a 5-minute fix. But I'm going to explain it properly to you so you understand what is going on. I always use these test meters. Now, these test meters are either built in, like you can see here, or I have what I call the portable ones, and I use these when I go out to customers' houses. And it is so simple. These test meters are only £10. So I'm going to turn the machine on, and we're going to set this to a simple rinse program. This means the machine is going to fill, rinse, spin, and empty. I already know the heating system and everything with this machine is good, but the machine is not emptying. And I'm just going to show you how simple this is. So pressing the start, the machine will automatically start filling through the soap drawer, and it will go through its rinse procedure. And I will fast forward this a little bit for you now until it gets to the point of actually filling and going into the empty mode. Now, while the machine is filling, I'm just going to explain to you what is going on with the wattage. This is the wattage in the bottom left-hand corner, and the ampage is in the top right-hand corner, and the voltage is in the left-hand corner. Now, the water valve is active, and when the drum's not turning, you can see it's drawing approximately 9 watts of power. This is the energy that is used to open up the water valve to allow the water to go into the machine. When the motor starts turning, you will see the wattage increase, and it's drawing approximately 88 watts of power, and that is because the motor is actually turning. But this is only giving you an understanding to what is actually happening. Once the machine gets to the correct water level within the drum, the machine will stop, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, the water in the drum now is just coming up to the level of the door seal. And in a few seconds or so, it might be another, I don't know how far up on the glass this machine actually pushes the water in. It might be another inch, 2 inches, which is a couple, 4 or 5 centimeters. But once it's reached the water level, the printed circuit board and the pressure switch will actually say I'm at the correct level, which it's done now. Now, basically what's happened now, the machine has stopped, and it will continue to rinse the clothes by turning the drum in a clockwise rotation and an anti-clockwise rotation, and then it will kick into empty. Now, as you can see now, we've only got 3 watts being drawn. When the motor is turning, of course, it goes up to 80, 90 watts. And in a few minutes, this machine will stop. And I think it has done. No, it's still turning in the one direction and the other direction. But what I want you to look at now is suddenly we're at 3 watts. So that means nothing is happening. It's just doing a rinse cycle, turning left to right. When the pump activates, the pumps on these Hotpoint washing machines are approximately 20 to 25 watts of power. So we will see a constant 20 to 25 watts of power being drawn at this point. Now, it will take a few minutes before it kicks into the empty program. It might actually be quicker for me to stop the program now. Yes, I think it will be. I'm going to stop the program, press pause. I'm going to cancel the program, and I'm going to turn it to just spin and empty. And if I press the power back on, press start, it will take a little bit more water while the pressure switch is relaying the information to the circuit board, and then it will shut the water off in a second or so. Just wait for that to finish. Water valve open, pulling 9.8 watts. The water will stop in a second, which it has done. And now you can see that the meter is actually pulling 25 watts of power, but nothing is happening. The drum will not go into spin mode because there is still water present in the drum. This means that the pump is active. Now I'm going to take the camera underneath the machine in a second to show you what I'm meaning. And because these new pumps are, how can I describe this? Basically very, very silent. You're not actually hearing the pump because the impeller's not turning. Now, before I go underneath, I've actually got a pump which I just took off a Hotpoint machine that I dismantled, and I've actually put a hot wired rig on there to show you. Remember that this machine is still on 25 watts, but if I take the filter out and you look in here and I get a screwdriver, here is the impeller, and I'll bring this right up to the camera for you, and you can see that that impeller is turning freely. Now, basically, if I plug this pump in, remember this pump is still active at the moment on this machine, so we got 25 watts of power, but I'm going to turn this on. You should only do this, by the way, if you're competent with electric. This is a completely plastic pump, so I'm safe holding it, and I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to bring it up to the camera for you. And as you can see, the impeller is turning. Now, you might say, why is it only drawing 10 watts of power? That is because there is no load on the pump. If I start to put a load on there, you will see that wattage go up. And that is because the pump draws more power under load. So basically, with this meter, I am able to understand that the machine is not emptying. This means that we have a blockage either in the pump or we have a blockage in the sump hose running from the drum to the pump. And on some rare occasions, you may have a blockage in the sink unit because some washing machines are connected next to the sink and connected via a bayonet pipe onto the sink unit. So I'm going to turn this off now, and we're going to have to drain the machine down to have a look at the pump. Okay, I've turned the machine on, and as you can see here, we've got 25 watts of power. Now, if we go down under the machine, and you'll have to excuse me holding the camera, but I'm not setting everything else up for this. Here is the pump motor. Now, you can't hear any noise coming off this, but if I put my finger onto the pump, I can feel a buzzing type vibration coming through the plastic. This means that the motor is energized, but the actual pump impeller is not turning. Now, if I put an electrical meter on those two wires there, I would have 240 volts present, meaning that electricity is coming from the circuit board to the pump, but the pump motor is not turning. Now, I'm not doing really any damage to it, leaving it running, because it's actually covered in water, but it is not really good for the pump for it to be running like this. So what we need to do next is drain down the machine and then take the pump filter out. Okay, the machine is full of water. Make sure you unplug the machine from the electricity supply, and we need to drain down the machine. Now, there's two ways of doing this. You can either take the actual plinth off the bottom, and there's 3 points, if you look closely, which you just need to put the screwdriver in and just give it a twist and carefully remove the plinth. This machine was actually destined for the scrap. Now, you have got an emergency cord here that you could pull to actually open up the door. But as you can see, the water level is right at the top. So I'm just going to shut that. You could either unscrew the filter with a tray underneath it and collect the water. But this is going to have to be done in a process where you only loosen it and then do it up as you remove the water. But the easier way with the Hotpoint machines is grab yourself a bowl, and if I go round the back of the machine and grab the waste pipe, I can now lay that flat, and the flow of water is not that good coming out of the machine, and this is because the actual pump filter is blocked, therefore restricting the flow of water. And this is exceedingly slow. Sometimes by giving it a bit of a push, or even we might be able to get a flow of water going in. And I'll let this drain now, which will take a few minutes, and I'll let this completely drain off camera. Now, as you can see, the actual flow of water coming out of this pipe is exceedingly slow. So what I'm going to do is just leave that in there and let it drain down, but I'm going to assist it by putting a bucket underneath the filter here and just giving it a twist. Don't undo the filter completely, otherwise you'll have a heck of a mess on the floor. But this will take me a few minutes to actually drain down the machine. Okay, here we have the last bits of water coming out of the machine, and now I'm able to open up this filter a little more. Just inspect inside the drum that there is no water that you can see, but I know that is completely empty. Now, I am actually making these videos to show the built-in obsolescence on machines, but when I come across a machine like this that is in perfectly good condition but has been thrown away for no reason, sometimes I think I'm wasting my time. But pulling this out, can you see this? And let me bring the camera in closer for you. Now, if you look here, whatever that is, some type of, well, just a piece of cloth. I have no idea what it's off. But basically now, if you look in here, and I'll try and bring the camera closer in for you. And let me grab the light. I think that's okay. If you look here now, the impeller is turning freely. Basically, I will drop the sump hose off this machine just to make sure there's no more of this in there, but I'm going to do that back up, and I'm going to put the machine back on test. Okay, I've plugged the machine back in, shutting the door, turning it to a rinse cycle, turn the power on, press the start button. Now the machine is going to go into the filling procedure, and I'm not going to bore you with 2-3 minutes of footage of it filling. I'm just going to advance the video at fast forward for you until it comes to the point where it starts emptying. Okay, the machine now is getting to the level where it's going to cut the water supply off once it's actually filled to the correct level. This is done via the pressure switch, telling the circuit board to activate a relay to shut the water supply off. And you'll notice on the meter when the drum stops turning that we're drawing no power, or 3 watts. Now the water valve is turned off. This will go for about 5-10 minutes now in either direction while it's rinsing the clothes. But I'm going to trick the machine again because I don't want to bore you with extra long footage. So if I end the program now, so I press pause and turn the machine back on and press it to the spin cycle and press start, I want you to have a look. It might fill with a little bit of water because I've tricked the program. It is doing, but that'll stop in a second. And then we will see the pump get activated, and we will see our 25 watts of power showing up on here. So just bear with me. There it goes. You can actually hear the pump now, and you can see that we're drawing 25 watts of power and the water is emptying from the machine. Someone went out and spent £300 or whatever they spent on a new washing machine because of a piece of cloth jammed in the pump. I hope that helps someone actually fix their machines in the future, rather than these machines going to the landfill for no reason whatsoever. I mean, one of the things I have to say here is I actually have a few people around the country who supply me lorry loads of appliances that are destined for the landfill. This machine was destined for the landfill for a simple piece of cloth in the pump. Now I'll run it through a full test cycle. I was going to scrap this machine for spare parts, and I've done a previous video on that for you to see, and I'll put a link on the actual screen up here somewhere that will actually take you through to the next video in a second. But any spare parts that you need for these machines, whether new or second-hand, we have them all at the website. I hope this video helped someone. Thanks very much indeed for watching. Do remember to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you wish to, you can press the notification icon to be notified of any more videos coming out in the future. And if we've really helped you, by all means, you can click on the Buy Paul a Beer page and donate to the website, as that's what keeps us going and able to make these videos for you. Thanks very much indeed for watching.